Om Vakratunda Mahakaya Suryakoti Samaprabha Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada Om Shri Mahaganapataye Namaha Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om Sadashiva Samarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Asmad Gurubhyo Namaha श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। ओम श्री मेधा दक्षिणामुक्ति स्वामिने नमः। ओम सहनाववतु सहनो भुनक्तु सह वीर्यं करवावहै तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहै। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। ओम पार्थाय प्रतिबोधितां भगवता नारायणेन स्वयं व्यासेन ग्रथितां पुराणमुनिना मध्ये महाभारतम् अद्वैतामृतवर्षिणीं भगवतीम् अष्टादशाध्यायिनीम् अम्ब त्वामनुसन्धदामि भगवद्गीते भवद्वेषिणीम्। यं ब्रह्मा वरुणेन्द्ररुद्रमरुतः स्तुन्वन्ति दिव्यैस्तवैः वेदैः साङ्गपदक्रमोपनिषदैः गायन्ति यं सामगाः ध्यानावस्थिततद्गतेन मनसा पश्यन्ति यं योगिनः यस्यान्तन्न विदुः सुरासुरगणाः देवाय तस्मै नमः। So namaste once again everyone. Sahasrayuga paryantam aharyat brahmano viduhu ratrim yuga sahasrantam teho ratra vido janah. In this mantra we saw at the end of last class. So what this mantra says, or this shloka says, is that those people who are conversant with the day and night of Brahmaji know the day of Brahmaji to be lasting up to 1000 Chatur Yugas, and the night to be lasting up to end of another 1000 Chatur Yugas. That's one small point I want to make, even though I think earlier also I have made this point. We use the word Ji with Brahmaji, to distinguish Brahma from Brahman, the formless reality. Actually, this Ji suffix is not a Sanskrit word. It is actually a Hindi word, and actually it is quite, I've found that very, generously used in Coimbatore. They ask everybody, they'll put a Ji. So in Sanskrit, two words are there. One is Brahma with a long A, the Chaturmukha Brahma, and Brahman, which is the Nirguna Brahman, which is beyond time and space. So that Brahma with a long A is Saguna Brahma, and who is Mr. Saraswati or Saraswati's husband, Therefore, who is described as Chaturmukha Brahma? That Brahma is finite. So in order to avoid any confusion between two similar sounding words, Saguna Brahma is called Brahmaji and Nirguna Brahman is called Brahman. Even though the word Brahman is a Pratipadika, the correct word should be Brahma with a Hraswa A ending. But then between Harasva and Dirgha could be confusion. So make it amply clear Brahmaji and Brahman. So that's why we can distinguish whom we are referring to. It was just a small point. Most of you must be familiar with all these things. But in case there is a confusion, I thought I will clarify it. Okay. Now, as I said in the last class, from the 15th verse of this 8th chapter up to the 22nd verse, Lord Krishna is comparing two forms of human goals. One attainable through karma, varieties of actions, and you can include both Laukika and Vaidika karmas in this, scriptural and non-scriptural, secular and religious activities. They can give you one set of results. And another type of goal attainable through Nishkama Upasana. And Krishna wants to point out that the karma phalam is finite and upasana phalam is infinite. And we must remember one thing throughout this 8th chapter, Jnanam is kept aside. Even when he is referring to Jnanam here, he is referring to Upasana only. So here we are not making a comparative study between Jnanam and any other sadhana. The comparative study is only between karma and upasana. So we are not talking about what phalam Atma Jnanam is going to get or going to give. Here the comparison is what phalam you will get by karma and what phalam you will get by upasana. That is the comparison. And Krishna wants to establish that if one has to choose between karma phalam and upasana phalam is superior to karma phalam. That is the point he wants to make. And how is it so? He wants to point out that karma can give all types of results up to Brahmaloka Prapti. One can even get Brahmaji's position. But all those goals are finite, both time-wise and space-wise. They are all Desha-Kala Parichinnam. Whereas a person who practices Nishkama Upasana, as a result of that, he will get Krama Mukti, which is going to Brahmaloka, and from there reaching God, that is attaining moksha. And therefore, we should remember here that Nishkama Upasana Phalam as Krama Mukti, Ishvara Prapti, and that Ishvara Prapti, that Krama Mukti comes under infinite result. So, the Karma Phalam is finite and Upasana Phalam through Krama Mukti is infinite result. Or we can say in the Sanskrit language, in the language of Vedanta, Karma Phalam is Parichinnam, Nishkama Upasana Phalam, Krama Mukti is Aparichinnaha. This is the idea Krishna wants to convey through these verses from 15 to 22. And while talking about the limitation of karma phalam or material results, he is taking up the highest goal possible. Highest goal possible within time and space. And he wants to point out that even that highest goal happens to be finite in nature. The highest goal, Brahmaloka Praptihi, or getting the post of Brahmaji, That is finite in nature. Although Krishna accepts that this Brahmaji has got a very, very long life. Even the longest life will end one day. Therefore, it comes under Parichinna Phalam only. And in order to highlight this, he talks about the duration of Brahmaji's life in this sloka. Krishna wants to point out that even though the seemingly infinite life is there, seemingly infinite. I mean, looks very long, as if never ending, as though never ending. But it is not infinite in reality. Even Brahmaji will have a last day. There will be a retirement day for Brahmaji. He will have to vacate that position. He will be garlanded and given a farewell party. All that will happen. So that is also finite only. Like no job is permanent, everybody. Someday they will retire 58, 55, 60. Even if they continue after 60, say, well, normally most companies, most good big companies, they will have a retirement policy. But what they will do, they will continue the services on a contract basis, year on year, year on year. But that also will come to an end sometime. So this is what Krishna wants to say, that if your goal in life is infinite, you have two choices. Either you can go for Krama Mukti or you can go for Sadhyo Mukti. But if your goal is not infinite, your goal, all goals in your life is all finite goals. All that you are looking for is some enjoyment in going to Swarga Loka and all that. And then whatever be the length of time, it will come to end one day. So decide for yourself, what is the goal you want to choose. And we read the sloka in the last class, and I gave you the word meanings also, very, just the word meanings. Now let us discuss the sloka. So what is the duration of Brahmaji's life? Krishna says, in all it is 200 Chaturyugas of human beings, which is equal to one calendar day of Brahmaji. Mind you, Brahmaji's life is not 200 Chaturyuga, 2000 Chaturyugas. 2000 human Chaturyugas is equal to one day of Brahmaji. One calendar day, that is day and night, 24 hours. And total Brahmaji's life is 100 years. So you can now do the calculations. So now how is it 2000 Chaturyugas? I hope all of you know what is Chaturyuga. You may all know the names of the 4 yugas. That is, it is a duration of time like month, year, etc. Yuga, 4 yugas, so Chaturyuga. So we have got 4 yugas: Krita Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. And we are now where in Kali Yuga. And that too what? First quarter only. Pratame Pade. Kali Yuga just started about 5,000 odd years ago. And the total duration of Kali Yuga, according to the scriptures, is 4,32,000 years. And we have only crossed 5,000 years. So even if you actually divide the 4,32,000 years into 4 padas, how much is Prathama pada? Prathama pada will be 108,000 years, isn't it? If you divide into 4 quarters. And out of that 108,000 years, we have only completed 5,000 years. We have got a long way to go. Then Dvitiya Pada, Tritiya Pada, then the final Pada. So many years are there. And in the Chatur Yuga cycle, this Kali Yuga is the fourth last one. One Chatur Yuga cycle. So the previous Yuga was called Dwapara Yuga, in which Krishna Avatara happened. And it is supposed to be the double the duration of Kali Yuga. So Kali Yuga is 4,32,000 years. Dwapara Yuga is 8,64,000 years. Then the previous one is Treta Yuga, in which Rama Avatara took place. The Treta Yuga is supposed to be 3 times Kali Yuga. 3 into 432,000. We will need a calculator for all this, isn't it? Looks like Ramanujam's class. So much calculation is going on. So Treta Yuga was 12,96,000 years, human earth years rather. Then Krita Yuga, supposed to be 4 times Kali Yuga, 17,28,000 earth years. And therefore, if you add all of this, how much you get? You get one Chatur Yuga is 43,20,000 years, earth years, which is one Chatur Yuga. Another easy way of remembering is, if you remember, Kali Yuga is 4,32,000, Chatur Yuga is 10 times that, 43,20,000. That is supposed to be the duration of one Chatur Yuga. Like that, when 2,000 Chatur Yugas are finished, Brahmaji's one day is gone. If he has got that daily tear of calendar, we get all this with all the photos of God and all that. There are 365 pages. Every day we will tear off one page. So after 2,000 Chatur Yugas, Brahmaji will tear off one page from that calendar. And as I said, like that, Brahmaji has got 100 years of life. So for 1 year, 365 days. So we have to first multiply 43 lakh 20,000 by 365. That is, you have to multiply 2,000 Chatur. Sorry, 43 lakhs 20,000 is one Chatur Yuga. 43 lakhs 20,000 into 2,000 into 365. I mean, I don't know whether the calculator will have the enough zeros even to do this calculation. Anyhow. But we are not concerned about it. It's just the idea is that it's such a long life that it is probably beyond our imagination and to some extent beyond our calculation also rather. So many years that will be the life of Brahmaji. Now, what is the present age of Brahmaji? That will be a question, isn't it? So you said 100 years is the total age. How old is Brahmaji now? How many 2,000 Chaturyugas have gone by? For that, it is easy to know. If we are doing, regular puja and things like that and all, including, this Tarpanam, etc. What we say, Adhya Brahmana Dutiya Parardhe Shvedavaraha Kalpe Vaivaswata Manmantare Ashtavinsatitame Kalyuge Pratame Pade. So Brahmana Dutiya Parardhe. Ardham means half. Dutiya Parardham means second half. So Brahmaji's life, as we saw, is 100 years. Now he has entered the second half of his life. Brahmaji is past 50 years. Running is 51st year. Brahmaji must be looking himself in the mirror. Oh, some hair here, some here have started turning gray. Eh? I am becoming old. Must be thinking Brahmaji in Brahmaloka. Anyhow, so out of 2000 years, how many Chaturyugas have gone by? 2000, sorry, out of 100 years, how many Chaturyugas have gone by? It says Ashtavimshati Tame. So in the 2000 Chaturyugas, 28th Chaturyuga is over. So now you can calculate how many Chaturyugas more are left for Brahmaji to reach the total. So out of these two Chaturyugas, which is one day of Brahmaji, 1000 Chaturyugas is his day and another Chaturyugas is his night. As I said, all mind-boggling calculation. Even I get confused when, looking at these numbers. Anyway, we need not worry. The Mahapralaya, or that for that matter, even Pralaya, is far, 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 far away. None of us will be alive till that time, at least in this body. That is why we must hurry for Sadhyo Mukti, so that we get out of this whole problem. Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam. Okay. So this is what is said here. Yat aha brahmanaha. Aha means daytime. What is the day or what is the duration of daytime for Brahmaji? And what he says? He says Sahasra Yuga Paryantam. It is 1000 Chaturyugas. Sahasra, as we know, means 1000, isn't it? Sahasranamam, 1000 names. Here, the word Yuga must be understood as Chaturyuga. So 1000 Chaturyuga duration is Brahmanaha Ahaha. 12 hours of Brahmaji. What about the night? Yuga Sahasrantam Ratrihi. Another 1000 Chaturyugas will be the duration of night of Brahmaji. And who knows all these things? He says, Tejana hai ahoratra vidaha viduhu. Ahoratra vidaha means who are conversant with the day and night of Brahmaji. Tejana hai, those people who have studied the scriptures, in which all the lokas are talked about, in which what are the different types of lokas, what is the age of, each of those lokas, etc. are all talked about. Who is the Adhisthana Devata for each loka? Like that, all detailed, they have studied all these things thoroughly. And so such people, they only know these details. So then what happens during the day and night of Brahmaji? That is going to be said in the next verse. Okay. Avyakta advyaktaya sarvaha prabhavantyah ragame ratriagame praliyante tatraiva vyakta sanyake. The Anvaya is Ahaha Agame Sarvaha Vyaktayah Prabhavanti Avyaktat Prabhavanti Avyaktat. That should come there. Kama Ratri Agame Praliyante Tatra Eva Avyakta Sanyake. But if you know a little bit of Sanskrit, very easy slokas. These are all easy to understand. Aha Agame. At the approach of the day of Brahmaji, Sarva Vyaktayah, all manifestation, Prabhavanti, proceed, emerge, Avyaktat, from the unmanifest. Ratriyagame, at the approach of night, praliyante, they merge, tatra eva, into that self, into itself, avyakta sanyake, which is called the unmanifest. So on the arrival of the day of Brahmaji, all manifest beings emerge from the unmanifest. And on the arrival of the night of Brahmaji, they merge back into that itself called the unmanifest. So here Krishna is talking about or giving us gyan, knowledge, or through Arjuna. He's talking, all this conversation he's having with Arjuna only, right? So he says, what happens during Brahmaji's day and night? And Krishna wants to point out it is very similar to our day and night. When our day begins, sunrise takes place. Then our world of interaction also begins. So now we have got interactions, activities, knowledge, emotions. Everything, suddenly comes up. Fully active world. Desha, Kala, and Parardha. Now I have got space, I have got time, I have got people, I have got interaction, I have got the consequences, responses also. All my Vyavaharika Jivan is in full blown, activity. In fact, in one way, we say our life begins when we wake up. And the moment when I go to sleep, what happens? My whole world of plurality is resolved for me. In my deep sleep state, Desha is resolved, space is resolved, time, Kala is resolved, Dvaitam, the world of plurality is resolved. And therefore, what happens? All transactions get resolved. And therefore, all the sukha dukkha emotions are also resolved. And that is why, deep sleep state is compared to nirvikalpa avastha. Nirvikalpa means undifferentiated. Stage of undifferentiated state. But there is one small difference. What is that? In our case, when we go to sleep, that is when I go to sleep, only my world of plurality is dissolved, isn't it? For other people who are awake, the world continues, the transaction continues. I have gone to sleep, deep sleep, but they are still sitting with their mobile phone, laptops, Facebooks, Instagrams. Their world is continuing till they will go to sleep. So my private world rises when I rise. My private world resolves when I go to sleep. But in the case of Brahmaji, this happens at the macro level. When I sleep, it is called Layaha. And when Brahmaji sleeps, it is called Pralayaha. You can say Pra stands for macro. When I sleep, it is micro. Micro is Layam. Macro means Pralayam. Now, what do you mean by Pralayam? It is not just my subjective world alone that resolves. When Brahmaji goes to sleep, the whole creation resolves into unmanifest condition. When I sleep, my private world is not destroyed. It only goes to dormant condition. Because when I wake up the next day, everything comes back. Duality comes, plurality comes, time comes, space comes, worries come, pleasures come. everything comes back. Therefore, when I go to sleep, my private world is not destroyed. It just goes into a dormant condition. Similarly, during Brahmaji's sleep, the whole creation goes into avyakta avastha. And that is what is said here. Ratri agame. We will take the second line first. When Brahmaji's night comes, sarvaha vyaktayah praliyante. Vyaktayah, the individuals. All these individuals are resolved. Praliyante. Into what condition? Avyakta sanyake. To a state of unmanifest. Because even scientifically also, matter cannot be destroyed. That's what science says. You can never create matter, you can never destroy matter. Even in an atomic explosion, what happens? If matter is destroyed, it gets converted into energy. So what do you mean by destruction? By destruction, we mean from visible condition, it goes into invisible condition. Like the boiling water. You take one vessel, put water and keep it to boil. After some time, the water has disappeared. But that does not mean that the water has gone somewhere. It is not destroyed. It remains in the atmosphere in the form of invisible vapor, steam. Similarly, the whole concrete visible universe at the time of pralayam gets converted into unmanifest matter. You may call it energy, but we call it prakriti or maya or avyaktam. This is when Brahmaji goes to sleep. Ahaha agame. Then again, when Brahmaji wakes up, energy is converted back into matter, invisible converted to visible, non-dual is again converted to duality, and again all activity begins. So, sarvaha vyaktayah avyaktat prabhavanti. Out of unmanifest, again they become manifest. So the universe emerges from avyaktat, from their potential condition, their unmanifest condition, like a plant sprouting from a seed, where they were all resting in a potential form. And what is that potential form? They were resting in Brahmaji himself. So Brahmaji carries the whole thing in potential form and then throws it out as it were. And it is not an unknown thing, isn't it? Again, we have got our example of our sleep, our dream state. Not deep sleep, dream state. We throw our dream world from our own mind. When we go to sleep, we said everything gets resolved. Resolved where? Resolved in our own self. What was manifest has become unmanifest in our own self. So even our tonight's dream is potentially there in our mind. In what form? Vasana rupena. Vasana rupena rather. Impression rupena vartate. So there is a dream. Potential dream is there. When we go to sleep, it will be thrown out. And when we throw out the dream space, dream time and dream objects, we have a duration for the dream. And when we withdraw into our own mind, when we go to the sleep. In the same way with Brahmaji, when Brahmaji withholds the creation and again throws it out. And that withholding or withheld form is called Avyaktam, or we can call it Maya or whatever it is. And we must note one thing, there's a continuity, the same idea, a parallel idea we have seen in the second chapter. Avyakta bhutani vyakta madhyani bharata avyakta nidanan yeva tatra ka paridevana. You must recollect what we saw there. Same idea that is repeated here. And this is important because we get a corollary from these words. And what is that corollary? The universe is never created by anyone. We should never use the word creation, which is one of the biggest misnomers, confusing word, because nothing can be created and nothing can be destroyed. That being so, how can we talk about creation of the world? That is why Vedanta never accepts the creation of the world. And since we do not accept creation, we need not answer the question if we are asked why Bhagavan created the world. Somebody comes and asks us, oh, you are a guru, you teach all that. Why did Bhagavan create this world? We don't need to answer them. We will tell them, I can give you an answer only if I accept Bhagavan created the world. For me, Bhagavan did not create the world. How do you say so? I say so because the universe is existence of the universe is eternal rather. So we need not use the word creation. The word is eternally there from beginningless times. It is neither created nor destroyed. To say that the world is created is against the fundamental law of conservation of matter and energy. Then how are we to understand this so-called creation? The word creation must be replaced by the word manifestation. The world was always there. It was there in potential form, which is acted upon by the time, and it undergoes modification, and the unmanifest modified form becomes manifest. And it is caused by what? By time, which is also an integral part of the creation. Time is an integral part of the matter. Matter and time can never be separated. You cannot conceive of matter without time, nor can you ever conceive of time without matter. And that is why, if you ask the scientists, they will tell you exactly the moment when Big Bang happened, the time. T0, they will say, or T1, they will say. T1, Big Bang happened. You ask them what was the condition in T0, just one moment before Big Bang happened, they don't know. That's why we are not able to say anything because time has not yet come. The moment Big Bang happens, the time starts. Then you know, okay, this is the matter. Big Bang is creating matter. Time has started. Now I know this is the time from which the whole thing has come about. And the problem is, if they don't accept that manifest, unmanifest, at least till date, they have not accepted. So without accepting, for them, there is something called creation, which started with a Big Bang. But then if you accept that creation, then you have to tell what was the situation just moments before the Big Bang. That they are not able to tell. Nobody will be able to tell also. And therefore, Krishna here beautifully says from Avyaktat. You don't know the answer, scientists? I will tell you. What was the condition before Big Bang? It was an unmanifest condition. Everything in this universe was there. Avyaktat. So from unmanifest condition, all manifest thing comes acted upon by time. And then it will again go back to the unmanifest. Therefore, we say the creation is an eternal manifestation, unmanifestation process where beginning or end can never be talked about. And that is another very big difference we must note. Even if you use the word creation for understanding, for us, creation is a cyclical process. For the Western thinkers, it is a linear process. That is why they start that whole thing started with Big Bang and all that. We cannot say because in cycle you cannot say which is the starting point. So this is the another difference that we have to note. Thus, the world goes in a cyclic form of manifestation and manifestation, expansion and contraction, evolution and involution. The whole universe continues in a cyclic form eternally. Therefore, Krishna says, Ratri agame praliyante tatra eva avyakta sanyake. And Krishna elaborates this idea further in the next sloka, the 19th sloka. Bhutagrama sa evayam bhutva bhutva praliyate ratriagame vasha partha prabhavatyah ragame. The Anvaya is Ratri Agame Sahaeva Ayam Bhutagramaha Praliyate Bhutva Bhutva Aha Agame Prabhavati Avashaha He Partha. Ratri Agame, on the arrival of the night of Brahmaji, Sahaeva Ayam Bhutagramaha, that very same multitude of beings, Praliyate merges, Bhutva Bhutva, having emerged again and again. Aha Agame, on the arrival of the day of Brahmaji, Prabhavati, it emerges again or remanifests, you can say. Avashaha helplessly, he Partha, O Arjuna. So on the arrival of the night of Brahmaji, well, earlier he talked about what happens to the universe. Here he is talking about what happens to the beings, the jivas, when this whole manifestation and manifestation process is going on. So he says, on the arrival of the night of Brahmaji, the very same multitude of beings, the jivas, merge, having emerged again and again. And on the arrival of the day of Brahmaji, they all again emerge helplessly, O Arjuna. So here, if the universe goes to unmanifest condition, again comes to manifestation, what will happen to all the jivas, all the individual? Krishna says the individual will also have the same destiny. Means what? They will also go into unmanifest condition in which all the jivas will remain potentially inactive, dormant. Like, some of these animals, I'm told, they go into hibernation for a long period of time. Some animals go into hibernation during winter. And only when the winter is going away, spring is coming, they will again come back. Till such time, no food, no water, nothing. They will just be in hibernation, like practically in unmanifest form. So similarly, all jivas will go back to hibernation. And after remaining in potential form, for how many yugas? Answer we know, 1,000 Chatur yugas. Night of Brahmaji. Again, the jivas will emerge with their own karmas, punyam papam intact. The Karana Sharira never ever gets destroyed through all this process of Vyakta, Avyakta business. There is only one way you can get rid of the Karana Shariram. That is through Atma Jnanam. In fact, all Upanishads, Vedanta, eventually everything boils down, all roads meet, as they say, They will all bring the same idea to different routes. Why we should get Atma Jnanam. So, at that arrival of the day of Brahmaji, all jivas will emerge with their own karmas, punya papam intact. So, how will it be? What will be the experience like? Suppose you want to know how will we remain in Pralayam and how we will come back again. And we have discussed it many times. Suppose you want to taste Pralayam. As I said, Bhagavan has given you a sample, what they call it a prototype model, a simulated experience. Like the astronauts, when they go to space and all, because the conditions are different, pressure is different, and gravity force are all different. So they have to get acclimatized for that condition. So what they do, they undergo training on the earth itself, where the life in the upper space is simulated, like no gravitational flow, how to float, etc. You can't stand there. Even in moon also you can't stand. If you jump too high, you will blown away, you will go away. So you have to know how to float there, still be, bound to the moon. And nowadays we have got simulated training for driving also, You go to driving school, before that you take training. Like that, Bhagavan wants to give us the taste of Pralayam. In fact, we get it regularly. I've just now few minutes before I explained it. So I need not elaborate. You all know the answer. So when we go to sleep, what happens to our individuality? Our ego is resolved. Our knowledge, our ignorance, our happiness, unhappiness, pleasure, pain, all of them, all are in resolved condition. They are not destroyed. They remain dormant. And as we know, that because when you come to Gita class, there is a continuity of the teaching. Last week you attended the class and we saw certain shlokas. Then you went, not went home, you are in home only now. Then you went to sleep. 1 week you have every day, night you have slept. But did that knowledge which you acquired in the last class go away anywhere? It went into a dormant condition during all these 6 nights or whatever, 7 nights. Then again it manifested, isn't it? So now forget last class. All these classes that you have been attending, everything, every knowledge that we are gaining till now is not destroyed. In fact, even from childhood, whatever knowledge we are gaining, not destroyed. And even in my case also, I start teaching from where I left off in the last class, knowing fully well that you will remember, confident. I mean, it's not just I am guessing. I'm confident that you will remember. Otherwise, what will happen? Suppose it is destroyed, all the knowledge that you have gained destroyed at night. What will happen? Every class I will have to start from Dhritarashtra Uvacha Dharma Kshetre Kurukshetre. From there I will have to start Gita class. Every class. At the end of the class, again slate is wiped clean. Imagine our plight, your plight, my plight. So our ego, our knowledge, our ignorance, our pain, all our emotions, all of them and more, which were dormant during sleep, which were in potential condition, become manifest again the moment we wake up. And therefore Krishna says, Saha eva ayam bhutagramaha. The same multitude of jivas, the same group of jivas, bhutagramaha means group. So the same group of jivas will all go to dormant condition. And then the same set of jivas will again come back. Bhutva bhutva. By repeating this, bhutva means again. Bhutva bhutva, it's an expression in Sanskrit language. By repeating this again and again, Krishna says it's an eternal process. It happens again and again. Again pralaya, we go back to potential condition. Again we will come back. That means what? No new jiva is created. The same set of jivas are circulated from the beginningless times. Now, such a statement will create, immediately it will create a doubt. And in fact, in all question answer sessions, all teachers, all acharyas, this question is invariably asked. If no fresh jivas are created, how do you explain population explosion? Because new jivas are coming. In fact, I remember when I went to Kuwait, I was working in a Islamic bank. You can say that out of the entire bank staff, there were only two people who were non-Muslims. One was me. Another was another Christian guy who was the head of credit cards of that bank. I was heading the risk management. And, everybody around me is all Muslims, Islamic, many of them from India, Indian Muslims rather. And, there is a big difference between Indian Muslims and the Arabic Muslims. That is, the Arabic Muslims, they will be very friendly with you. They will respect you. They will respect your culture. Even Hindu culture, Christian culture, they will respect. They will never try to convert you or convince you that Islam is superior religion. They will never try to do that. Arabic Muslims. Whereas if you look at the Muslims from India who are actually themselves converts, their whole conversation will be, they will try to point out the fallacies or the weaknesses of the Hindu culture. And they will try to convince us that Islam is more superior than Hindu culture. That is what Many are, this is nothing, many people have experienced it while my 10 years in Kuwait. This happens, right? So one of my colleagues who was a Muslim, he asked me this question on rebirth. If you say everyone is reborn, then how come the population keeps increasing? And the point that he wanted to prove or make was that this rebirth theory of Hinduism is flawed. There is nothing, no such thing called rebirth. In fact, at that time, I had no idea about Vedanta. I knew that I had a Shraddha in Shastra which says there is rebirth. A little bit Gita also, I knew Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam and all. But it was a baffling question for me. He said, how only human beings are going on and on and on, more and more people being born. If there is a rebirth, then the same person should be born again. But I didn't have any idea about jivas, human beings, plants, animals, or jivas. No such idea. So I could not give a satisfactory answer to him. I just managed. I said, no, no, that is what our scriptures say, and all that. But now I know the answer. And for that answer, first of all, we should remember that whenever we are talking about the number of jivas or increase in population, we are taking into account only human jivas. But when we use the word jiva, it includes all human beings, all insects, even all ants, even invisible bacteria is a jiva. All insects, mosquitoes, plants, not only upon earth. We have got 14 lokas. We have got devas, asuras, devatas. Brahmaji himself is a jiva. And when we say the total number of jivas will be the same, we do not mean the total number of human jivas, but the total number of all jivas in the universe remains constant. The distribution of the body of the jiva may and will vary. And that's why Swami Chinmayananda used to tell a nice joke whenever such a question comes. He will say, please assume that plenty of forests were there, and therefore the wild animals were living in those forests. And all those forests, they were destroyed. And the wild animals, they were hunted down by poachers. Now, the animals like lions, tigers, scorpions, cobras, foxes, wolves, etc., they were also jivas, but they all died. And they took rebirth as human beings. And the human beings who poached them, they took rebirth as animals, those animals. So animals becoming human being and human being becoming animals. And that is why he used to say, many of us have got animal tendencies. Isn't it? There is a joke also, that in the morning you wake up, you bark like a dog and you work like a mule, something like that. So instead of going to a doctor, you must go to a veterinary doctor. Some joke I have read. So all these are jokes, but one cannot rule out the possibility. The vasanas are always carried forward in the next birth. More we will continue the next class. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते। ओम शांति शांति शांति। हरि ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरि ओम। धन्यवाद है। थैंक यू ऑल वेरी मच।
धन्यवाद।
Thank you very much, Guruji. Namaskaram.
नमस्कारम। हरि ओम। थैंक यू।
Thank you, Guruji. Hari Om.
हरि ओम। थैंक यू।
Namaste, Guruji. Thank you very much.
थैंक
Hari
यू।
Om. Another Kishta chapter.
अनदर
Kishta, another complicated topic.
या
Just like it's been in the Mundaka Upanishad. This again needs listening and re-listening and re-listening to for it to be.
All these are all meant to revise because gaining knowledge. Knowledge you cannot get once. Stories and all you can listen to once. Bhagavatam and all. But this is knowledge. Again and again, repeat, revise.
Yeah.
Retain.
Some appear to make appeal to your intellect or understanding right away, but some raise so many questions that it needs listening to again and again and again.
So, very true.
Thank you very much.
I guess there are no questions today. No hands have gone up.
I have a question not related to the subject.
Ah,
In the Mundaka Upanishad, I mentioned about mantra as I referred as shloka. What is the difference between a shloka and a mantra?
normally, we refer to the way what is appearing in the Vedas as mantras. Because mantras are one which are apaurushaya, given by Bhagavan himself because they are part of Vedas, Upanishads, etc. Slokas, we give name, it's a human creation. Even though many times, they have to follow this Chandas rule and all that kind of a thing. Both of them have to follow. They have got their own rules for composition. But mantras normally, they have a extra liberty Bhagavan takes. He doesn't stick to very proper grammar. We have seen in Mundaka Upanishad itself, rather few instances. Whereas in Shloka, such exceptions are very rare. Because human creation, the person who has written, for example, Veda Vyasa, who has written Bhagavad Gita or the Puranas, etc., even though he has got a license, that when he is composing, he can actually put in some words, remove some words, etc. But normally, the form change in mantras will not happen. I mean, mantras the form need not necessarily be literally translation in Sanskrit of that particular form. We have to interpret that. Whereas in shloka, normally it will be straightforward. So, broadly what we say, mantra refers to Veda mantras. Shloka, all other material is shloka. Vishnu Sahasranama shloka. All human creation is shloka. All God creation is mantra. This is a broad classification. But
Okay.
it is not a big mistake or an error to call a mantra a shloka or shloka a mantra. Because while talking or speaking, it comes rather. But you can't be very, very careful to say this mantra or shloka. Sometimes that happens rather. Because the idea is as long as people understand what is being spoken, it's fine. That's what it is.
Okay. I wanted because I saw it was mantra and you also referred it as mantra. So I wanted to check on this.
Normally, if I am very conscious, I will refer correctly. Bhagavad Gita, I will say shloka, Mundaka Upanishad, I will say mantra. But sometimes I may also mix up rather. So human error make it possible. But this is the idea.
Okay. Hari Om.
Mananat trayate iti mantra.
Sorry.
Mananat trayate iti mantra. That is the derivation of the word mantra.
Okay.
So you are supposed, that is supposed to, work on your mind.
Oh.
Anyhow, We'll see all that later.
Okay.
Right.
Namaskaram.
Carry on, everybody. Namaskara. See you next class.
Hari Om. Thank you, Guruji.
Namaskaram, Guruji. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Hari Om.